Hey guys, this is Yannick speaking. Today I'm gonna just talk about static lighting in GameMaker Studio 2. I'm gonna take you through some code. I'm gonna show you the end result. It's because when I started building a 2D lighting system for my game, based off the Yo-Yo Games official tutorial on the website, I ran into some issues where the light was rendering slowly. It caused frame rate drop, and I didn't really need dynamic lighting at that point. I just needed some static light sources in my game. So I've taken that code, I've refactored it a little bit to actually render before and not during every step, and that way we save, we don't have the frame rate drop that we'd get when we calculate it dynamically. Okay, so you can find the link to the tutorials in the comments. Also, I'm gonna upload the code so that you guys can check out the code. And yeah, let's get off to it. Okay, so this is my environment, and in here I have the room editor open with light sources. You'll see an object here as well. This is just to initialize the room for me to restart the level if I need to do so. And then also I've got a foreground tile section and just a basic tile background, and in here I've got a couple of tiles already laid out as the foreground in the foreground layer, and then I've got two light sources, which is these ones. You can see them in here. It's just object light. So it's very simple. Let me just start by actually showing you what it looks like. Running the game. Cool. These are my two light sources, and you can see the shadows are being casted off the walls, the foreground, and then you can also see them gradually fading out using shaders, much like the tutorial. Let's go into the code. Okay, so most of the logic will sit in the create event. We don't even need this step event anymore. I'll just delete that. So we've got a create and a draw event, super simple. And then we of course have the shader. There we go. The fragment shader there, and the vertex shader. Cool. Clean this up a little bit. Okay. Let's look at the create event. First, we specify the light positions, which is LX, LY, and it's the position of the light, the object placed on the map. Then we have the radius of our light, so how far the primitive will get rendered. Then we have the tile size, so this is depending on your actual room, so what the grid size is in your room, and what the tiles is that you use in your tile sets. Okay. Then we have the tile map, so this is quite important. This is the layer that we will be targeting. We will go inside that tile map and search for existing tiles. If there are some existing tiles, we're going to use that to do some calculations. Then we just specify the surface area as -1 currently. Then we set the light position radius. So this is basically a uniform, a variable that will get sent into the shader. And then here we just set up the vertex buffer, basically like a big polygon, using the position coordinates and the color coordinates. So that gives us, the position coordinate gives us the power to actually build up different positions and then build up a polygon like that. And then we can also specify the color of each point. Okay. And then we just create a vertex format using assigning the position and color attributes to it. And then we create the vertex buffer. So this is just a built-in function of GameMaker Studio. So we're saying, okay, this V buffer is going to be the placeholder that we're gonna build the polygon in. Okay. Then we go and we see if the surface exists. If it doesn't exist, we assign a surface to it. So we create a new surface. And this is so that we can actually send through a surface to the shader, so that the shader can target that surface. Okay. And then let's just get back here. Okay, cool. So now we're targeting that surface, and then we're just clearing the alpha of the map. Okay, and then here we start building up a vertex buffer. So we're starting to build up the polygon, which would be the shadows, which would be the light and the shadows. So we're building up that polygon, and then we're going to pass that through to the shader. So first of all, we start by identifying, okay, what is our light radius? So you can see this is where we built it up, the start X. So we're taking the X position minus the radius. So we're taking that part and then we're dividing it by the tile size. Because why we're dividing it by the tile size is we're interested using only tile positions for now, because we're going to go see if there's a tile existing in the tile position. Otherwise we'll have to go through every pixel. So this is just for optimization. Okay. We loop through all of the tiles in the light radius. So it's basically a block loops through all the tiles that's in that radius, and then we go and see, okay, is there a tile in the foreground there? If there's a tile in the foreground there, do some calculations, and then close up the vertex buffer, and we submit it. Anyway, and then in the draw event, this is where we have the shader come in. We set the shader, and we pass through that light radius variable that we've created in our create event. Boom. Boom. And then we draw the surface. Cool. And then we just reset the shader. Here we have the vertex shader. This is just taking in the parameters that we're passing it through, and then it's basically just for that pixel, like pushing it through to the fragment shader to actually do the heavy lifting. And here we have a bunch of code, and all that's really important here is our input parameter, which is a light source radius. So we're telling it how big we want it to be, and so that the shader knows how big our actual polygon is. Polygon is that's being processed. And then we just fade it out. So we're just checking if it's within range. If it's not, then it's black. Otherwise, shadow. So yeah, that's it. So let me just show you how it works. I can now go into my foreground editor, and I can go and add new stuff. Like, let's see what that looks like. There's not a light source there, but we can go and add some. Let's add a light source here. Okay. A light source there, and add a light source, yeah. Cool, so now we've got multiple light sources. So this is a lot quicker frame-wise. Currently, let's just look at the debug tool. My frame rate is. Okay, so currently we're running 7,000. When I was using this and I had 3 light sources on a map that was a little bit bigger than this, it started dropping down to about 10 frames a second, and that's, I mean, this isn't a very old computer, and you want to run these things on weaker devices as well, so you can't have something radically drop you down to 10 frames a second. I don't know whether there's a way around this currently in GameMaker Studio. I haven't been able to find anything that feels like the correct way to do it, so if anyone's got any suggestions, please leave a comment down below. Also look in the comments, in the description section. There's the code there for you. Also, there is the link to the tutorial. Anyway, I'm Yannick. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you so very much. Have a marvelous day.